Hey guys, welcome back to the match report. As it's been a while since we've been over this report, what we're going to do today is we're going to go back and look at what we've done so far, and then we're going to look at ranking our performances by teams, over the season. So let's get started. As always, if you're finding my videos for the first time, make sure you hit like below and also hit subscribe and the notification bell icon so you're notified of future videos. So as we haven't been on this report for a little while, let's go back and see what we've done so far. So the first thing we did is obviously we imported all our data and we've got our events from StatsBomb, a table of matches also from StatsBomb, and then also some teams, our team list. And in our team list, I did add a few extra data points. So let's go and have a look at that. We have our logo URL. So we've gone and found a logo on Google, and it's a Wikipedia logo. And I've tried to find the smallest one I can so it will load really well. And then I've also added a home and an away color from all the teams that are in this list. And so the first thing we did was we created the setup page so we can choose a team. And that's coming from our team list. We can choose all the seasons that they were involved in. And then we can choose a match that they've played in. Let me just turn off all these interactions. And then so you can choose the team and the list, the team, the season, the match. And then if you go over to the report page, it'll show you the data from that game. So what we did first of all is we showed a summary so we can see the home team versus the away team, what the values were for passes that completed in the final third, XG per shot, counter pressures in the opposition half, average defenders behind the ball, some of the information you can get from StatsBomb. So this would be a really nice way of showing the important stuff that your coach might be interested in really quickly on the first page. And then through the middle, what we have here is we've got a summary of the last 10 games showing you the information. So for example, the passes completed across those last 10 games. And the color I've added there is the home or away color. So was the team playing home or away? So as you can see here in this game, Arsenal completed 64 passes in that final third. And they were playing at home. Whereas the game before, they had completed 91 passes and they were away. So it's just a really easy way of showing home or away. We could change that and show opposition colors, but for now I'm going to keep it like this. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to create our final piece here on the side, and we're going to look at ranking the performance of our teams throughout the season. So we can see, say for example, where does Arsenal fit amongst everyone for passes complete in the final third on average across all the teams in the league. What we're going to do here is we're not going to create any anything majorly insane for a metric. All we're going to do is just find their average by game and then add that into a scatter chart so you can kind of see where they fit along the curve, or not along a curve, but along the line of the teams in the league. What we're going to do for that though is we're going to use a different graph so that we can see the team logos, so you can see easily who each team is. So let's get started straight away. What we're going to do first is we're just going to grab this graph here, pull it across, line it up. I'm just going to move it over slightly and then just fit it in here. So this one finishes here. Let's just go to here. And then what we're going to do is we also need to find any visuals that are hidden in the background, so slices. So what we're going to do is edit interactions, click on selection, and then you can see further down here we have match selector. If we just click on it, it'll select the slicer, and then we can just go, we don't want that interaction. And then we can also go down to team selection because we also want this to be every team. So let's go no. And then the last thing we want to do is hidden and behind in our filter pane here. If we click on here, we do have a match date filter, so let's just turn that off and hide that. So now it's got every game from the season. Cool. Obviously the next thing we want to do is we don't want dates, we want team names. So we're going to go into, into our team list. I'm going to pull team name out of that and put that on the axis. And then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to change our visual to a scatter chart. So let's do that, just like that. And we can see there already we've got our scatter chart. And you can see here it's showing Arsenal at 74 and Yeovil at 8. But we're going to make a different measure for this one, and we're going to see how it turns out, okay? So if we go back into our events and our account measure, if we click on passes total, we can see that we do filter this by a minimum match date. So this means it's finding the smallest match date and using that as the data source. We're going to change that, and what we're going to do to figure out how to do this is we're actually going to go into DAX Studio. So let's go into DAX Studio here. And what we're going to do is we're going to, let's pull in passes total. We need to pull in the passes too, just down to pass count. And let's click in here, paste this in. And first at the top here, because we're using DAX Studio, you do need to define, and then the last thing you'll want to do is evaluate. And all we're going to do here is we're actually going to create a summarize. So let's write that in here. And first of all, what we're going to do is we want to find a single team. So let's do that here. Let's just put Arsenal in here. And then what we don't want, as we said earlier, is we don't want to find our match date. So let's do that. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to use summarize this here, and we're going to use our data frame that we've just created. And what we want to do is we also want to filter by, group by our team.name, and then we want to also group by, we want this like this. We want to group by match ID is the easiest way here. And then what we want to do here is we want to create passes. So we can see all the passes by game, and we want to change this one here to events. Okay, let's see how this looks when we'll go format first, just to make sure, and then let's just click run. And as you can see here, it does have the passes by match down the bottom. So we can see all the games and all the passes that they've completed in the final third, as it is using this data set to count those passes, as we have filtered it here. If we try adding in DF here, let's see what happens. We just get a single value. So as you can see, we do need to keep events here to make sure we're getting the correct value. So let's keep that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this summarize over into this pass count formula here. And the one extra thing we are going to do is we're going to add an average X to this, and we're going to use the summarize as our table. So we just need to format this a little bit. There we go. And what are we summarizing, or we're averaging, is our passes here. Go enter and then close our brackets. So now if we go enter on that, oops, we didn't actually want to pass through that one. Let's just, what we want to do obviously is create a whole new measure. So let's do that. So we do have total. Let's copy this instead, create a new measure. I'm going to call it passes average. Pushed enter already. That's okay. Let's go back into DAX Studio, copy over our summarize, and instead let's go here and we're going to go average X, add in our summarize, make sure everything is forward so we've got it formatted correctly, passes here, close brackets, hit enter, there we go. So now that we have this, let's load this value here into our visual. So instead of passes total, we're going to have passes average. And once this loads, you can see here now we've got our values all spread out, and we've got Arsenal still at the top here on 74, and Yeovil down here on 8. So it is pretty much the same value, but just make sure that we're not filtering anything that we don't want. Let's just check here. Actually, what we haven't done is we haven't removed this out, so let's do that. Go enter again. And now, here we go. Let's look at our value again. And we can see it's slightly different. And Yeovil have do a few extra passes. So what we can do is we can just change our X value here. As we do have this here, let's go 0 and let's go say 90, and then that kind of brings it all together a little bit more. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the logo for our team names. So the way we're doing this is we're going to use a different visual, and it's the enhanced scatter. And for this, you can just find this by going to App Source, or just by clicking Get More Visuals. Just search enhanced scatter, and it's made by Microsoft. So for this, what you do need to do is add a Y value. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to go and create a measure. And when this pops up, I'm just going to call this Y value equals and 1. Really simple. And we're just going to scroll down here and just add Y value to our graph. And now you can see there that we've got the dots appearing. And again, they're just showing at the same spot. So what we can do here is now we don't actually need our Y-axis. So this is really easy. We've got that on there. We can see all our values, and now we just want to add the logo. And because we have the logo and we're using the team name, and when we go back to our relationships, we have team name filtering events. It's really simple. All we need to do is add the logo URL into the image field here on the visual, and you can see our logos appear. But as you can see, they are kind of small. So what you can do is add Y value into the size field, and it's a bit bigger. So as you can see there, you can see them a little bit clearer, and you can see each team as you go across. If we were to zoom in a little bit, you can see there are a couple of teams in here, and it does look like there is a couple of them that are the same. So we would just have to triple check some of those logos, but that's okay for now. We have these teams in here, and we can see the values across the page. So if we zoom out again, so there we have our passes complete in the final third for the game, across the last 10 games, and then where the team ranks throughout the season. So let's rename this visual here, just so that you can see it a little more clearer. We're going to go passes complete in the final third, and we'll just call that ranking. This is a very simple ranking, and it's obviously quite rudimentary, I guess, in terms of the value that it is, but it gives you a really good idea very quickly who's performed more or less throughout the season. So what I'll do is I'm going to head away, and before the next video I'll make sure I complete the next 3 visuals down below. And when we come back next time, we'll finish off this page really quickly, and then what we'll do is we'll move on to another page that we can look at the shots from the given game in a very similar way, looking at the team that we're interested in terms of this game is Arsenal, and then the opposition. And then also we can have a look at the shots in the match over time and the goals scored and things like that. As always, I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, please make sure you hit like below. And I hope to see you guys next time, where we will continue to power performance through data. Thank you.